The deep space around HMS Solace was completely silent. Stars floated like cold diamonds, and thin blue nebula clouds drifted slowly in the distance. The human medical ship moved gently through the dark, its white hull glowing softly. Red cross symbols were painted clearly on both sides, a universal sign of peace. Inside the ship, everything felt calm. Doctors walked through the bright hallways, checking patients who rested in medical beds. Nurses adjusted oxygen masks and recorded soft notes on glowing screens. The ship smelled clean, the lights were warm, and the atmosphere felt safe. To anyone watching from the outside, it was clear. This ship was made to save lives, not to fight. Captain Elias Warren stood on the bridge, hands behind his back, quietly watching the stars through the large transparent window. He was a calm man, older, with short gray hair and steady blue eyes. His voice was known for its softness, not its strength. "You like that? You like peace?" He liked quiet missions like this one, transporting injured colonists to a safer station. Behind him, the first officer, Lieutenant Mara Hale, checked the navigation panels. "Course is steady, Captain. No threats detected. ETA to Orion Haven is 7 hours. Elias nodded. "Good. Let's keep it smooth. They need rest." Down below, in the medical bay, a young doctor named Celia Torres was helping a small child drink water. The boy smiled weakly. "Are we close to home?" he whispered. "Yes," she said gently. "Very close. You'll be safe there." The ship hummed softly like a gentle heartbeat. Everyone felt relaxed. Everyone felt safe. But safety in deep space never lasted long. 2 hours later, alarms began to blink on one of the bridge consoles. Not loudly, just a quiet red light. A small warning. Almost too small to notice. But Lieutenant Mara noticed. She frowned. "Captain." Picking up something on long-range sensors. Elias turned. "Something? Or someone?" "Hard to say," Mara replied. "Maybe a ship. But the signal is faint." "Could be a miner," the captain said calmly. "Or a trading vessel." Mara nodded, but the worry in her eyes stayed. Minutes passed. The faint signal grew stronger. Then stronger. Then too strong. Her hands froze over the controls. "Captain, multiple signatures. Not one ship. Many ships." Elias's face tightened. "How many?" "5. No, 7. They are forming a spread formation." "That's military behavior," Elias muttered. Mara's voice became thin. "And they're moving fast." The bridge fell silent. A medical ship was not supposed to be near military activity. "Try to make contact," the captain ordered. Mara tapped the console. "Open channel." A soft tone rang through the bridge. "This is HMS Solace, a human medical vessel," Mara announced. "We are unarmed and carrying injured civilians. Please state your identity." No answer. Just static. She tried again. "This is a peaceful ship. We do not seek conflict. Please respond." Still nothing. Elias felt a cold knot form in his stomach. "Are they responding with light signals?" he asked. Mara checked the screens. Her face drained of color. "Captain, they're not signaling." "Then what are they doing?" he asked. Mara swallowed hard. "They're charging weapons." The words hit the room like ice water. For a moment no one spoke. Elias stepped closer to the window, eyes narrowing as tiny shapes appeared in the distance, dark, sharp, predatory figures cutting through the stars. Alien ships. Unknown design. Moving directly toward the Solace. He had seen many things in his long career, but never had he seen anyone target a medical ship. It was against every interstellar law. Against every code. "Bridge to engineering," Elias said quickly. "Prepare shields. Keep power to the medical bay stable." The engineer's voice came back shaky. "Shields? Captain, we're a hospital ship. Our shields are weak." "Do what you can." Dr. Celia in the medical bay felt the floor tremble slightly under her feet. She looked up, confused. "What was that?" A nurse checked the overhead display. "We might have company." Celia frowned. "Company? Who?" The ship shook again, harder this time. Patients woke up in fear. Children started to cry. Back on the bridge, the alien ships finally came close enough to be seen clearly. They were black and curved, with glowing yellow eyes painted across their hulls. "Like hunters. Like predators." Mara whispered, "They're locking onto us." Elias stared at the screen, feeling a bitter taste in his mouth. "They know we're a medical ship," he said softly. "They can see the symbols." "Then why attack?" a young bridge officer whispered. Elias closed his eyes for a moment. "Because not everyone respects life." A sudden bright flash lit the darkness. Mara gasped. Weapon discharge, incoming. Elias shouted, brace for impact. The first blast hit the ship with a deafening roar. Lights flickered. Metal screamed. People fell from their chairs. In the medical bay, equipment crashed, and patients cried out in fear as the whole ship shook violently. Elias held onto the railing and shouted orders. Seal the lower decks. Divert power. Damage control to Sector 2. The alarm screamed louder. Red lights flashed across the bridge. The aliens were firing again. Captain Elias realized the terrible truth. They were being attacked, even though they were healers, not soldiers. Humanity had seen many battles, but this was different. This was a message, a warning. And it was only the beginning. The second blast came before anyone on the bridge could recover from the first. A burning streak of yellow energy tore across the hull of HMS Solace, shaking the entire ship like a leaf in a violent storm. Loose panels flew from the ceiling. Medical carts rolled across the floor. Sparks rained down from damaged screens. Captain Elias grabbed the railing again, teeth clenched. They're trying to cripple us. Lieutenant Mara was already scanning the panel with trembling hands. Shields down by 40%. One more direct hit and we lose them completely. Elias forced his voice to stay calm. Send another peaceful message. They must understand who we are. Mara opened the channel again, voice steady but scared. This is HMS Solace, a medical ship. We carry injured civilians and children. We request immediate ceasefire. Only silence answered. Then a third blast struck. The lights flickered into darkness for 2 seconds before emergency power brought them back in a dim red glow. The bridge fell silent except for the sound of alarms echoing through the corridors. A young officer cried out, "Captain, they're targeting our engines." Elias felt a cold wave wash over him. They're not trying to warn us. They want us destroyed. Down in the medical bay, chaos grew. Dr. Celia Torres held onto a railing as the ship trembled. Get those beds secured. Someone check the stabilization units, she shouted. Patients were crying and shaking. Some clutched their blankets, others their wounds. A little girl screamed as sparks landed near her medical bed. A nurse rushed in breathless. The upper hull is breached in 2 sections. Emergency doors are sealed, but we need to move the patients further down. Celia nodded. Move everyone who can walk. Group the children first. Keep calm and stay together. The screams, the shaking floor, the smell of smoke. Nothing felt like a medical ship anymore. It felt like a war zone. On the bridge, Mara read the new data with growing panic. Captain, they're charging for another heavy strike. Power levels increasing. Elias stepped back, thinking fast. We can't outrun them. Our engines were never built for combat. A junior navigator spoke up, voice shaking. Why us, Captain? Why fire on a hospital ship? Elias didn't answer immediately. He stared at the alien ships on the screen, sharp, curved, and full of hate. Maybe these aliens didn't understand the Red Cross symbols. Maybe they didn't care. Mara interrupted his thoughts. They're repositioning for a kill shot. Angle the ship, Elias ordered. Make the strike hit the reinforced sections. We can't take more hits, Mara whispered. I know, the captain replied softly. But we must try. The viewpoint outside the window shifted as the Solace turned its wounded hull toward the enemy. The ship groaned like it was alive and in pain. The alien vessels moved like predators closing in on prey. At that moment, a soft alarm sounded from a panel near the captain's chair. Not loud, not urgent, almost hidden. But it caught Elias's attention instantly. A red light. A coded signal. His eyes narrowed. Lieutenant Mara noticed his reaction. Captain? What is that? Elias hesitated. Only a few officers knew the truth behind that small red light. A truth the galaxy was not supposed to know. He covered it with his hand. Nothing important. Focus on defense. But Mara stared at him with suspicion. She had served under him for 8 years. She knew his expressions. She knew this was not nothing. She decided to ask later. For now, survival came first. The alien ships closed in, weapons glowing brighter. On the medical deck, Celia helped an elderly man into a wheelchair. It hurts, he groaned. I know. Hold on. We'll get you somewhere safer, she said. Suddenly the ship jolted so violently that she lost grip of the chair. It rolled backward, hitting the wall. Celia gasped. They're firing again. A massive explosion echoed through the ship. A long crack split open along the ceiling, dust falling everywhere. The engines, someone screamed. hit near the engines. The whole deck tilted for a moment as systems struggled to stay balanced. Celia held onto a metal railing, shaking. She had never seen a medical ship under attack. This was not how humanity worked. This was not how war rules worked. Someone was breaking every code of honor. Someone wanted them dead. On the bridge, Mara shouted, "Shields are at 12%. One more shot and they're gone." Elias closed his eyes for a second. He thought of the families on board. The wounded. The children. He thought of humanity's vow. Never attack a medical ship. Ever. But the aliens attacking them had no such rules. He opened his eyes, voice low but firm. "Mara, send a final message." She nodded and activated the channel one last time. "This is HMS Solace," she announced, voice trembling. "We have no weapons. We are unable to defend ourselves. If you continue firing, you will be attacking helpless civilians." Silence again. The ships didn't slow down. Instead, their weapons glowed brighter, hotter, deadlier. They were preparing the final strike. Mara whispered, "Captain, they're going to kill us." But Elias didn't answer. Because behind him, that small red light continued to blink. Slowly, quietly, patiently. It was waiting for something. Something no one aboard the ship wanted to use. Something the galaxy didn't know existed. And as the alien ships charged their final shot, the red light blinked one more time. And then it turned solid. For a moment, the bridge of HMS Solace fell into complete silence. The alien ships floated outside like metallic monsters, ready to fire the final shot. Their energy cannons glowed brighter and brighter, building up deadly power. The crew watched in fear. Then Lieutenant Mara noticed it. "Captain, the red light." It stopped blinking. Elias didn't respond. He stared at that small, glowing indicator as if it were a ghost from the past, a secret he hoped would never wake. Mara stepped closer. "Sir, what is that system?" Elias finally exhaled a long breath. "It is something this ship was never supposed to need." Before Mara could ask more, a deep metal click echoed through the ship. Not from the bridge. Not from any visible system. It came from the deepest deck, a section locked behind armored bulkheads, a restricted area marked as storage. But it wasn't storage. It was something far deadlier. Down in the engineering corridors, crew members heard the heavy rumbling. "What was that?" one tech asked, eyes wide. The floor vibrated beneath their boots as if something massive had come alive. Another tech swallowed hard. "It came from the lower deck. A system just activated. But that section is sealed. No one goes down there," the first whispered. Not even the engineers. They all felt it, a strange fear filling the cold air. The ship, once a silent medical vessel, now felt like a sleeping beast opening its eyes. On the bridge, Mara finally spoke. "Captain, that sound came from the classified level. Please tell me what's down there." Elias looked at her, guilt in his eyes. HMS Solace was built as a medical ship. But after the Orion massacre, Command added a failsafe. A weapon hidden under deep cover. Mara's eyes widened. A weapon. On a hospital ship. Elias nodded slowly. A railgun. Prototype. Zero signature. No heat, no radiation, no detectable charge. Completely invisible until the moment it fires. Mara froze. "That's impossible." "Humanity made it possible," he said quietly. She stared at him with shock and anger. "You mean, we carry sick children, families, injured soldiers, and under their feet is a superweapon?" Elias sighed. "A weapon that should never be used. But someone in command feared exactly this, an attack on helpless ships." Mara opened her mouth to argue, but suddenly another tremor ran through the floor, a heavier, deeper vibration. The railgun was aligning. The crew looked around nervously. An operations officer whispered, "Captain, whatever is happening below, it's active." Elias finally turned toward the main screen. Outside, the alien ships had fully charged their cannons. Bright spheres of deadly energy gathered at their noses. Mara swallowed. "Sir, should we warn them?" "Already tried," Elias said softly. "They didn't listen." In the medical bay, Celia Torres struggled to keep patients calm as the ship shook again. "What now?" a panicked woman shouted. Celia held her steady. "Stay close. The captain is working on something." Another nurse ran toward her. "Doctor, something is happening below the deck. It feels like heavy machinery moving." Celia frowned. "Machinery? We don't have anything like that." The nurse whispered, "I know." They both looked upward as another vibration ran through the hull. This time it felt like a long, slow heartbeat. A heartbeat made of steel. On the bridge, Mara stared at the captain. "You activated it." Elias shook his head. "I didn't touch anything. The system woke itself." Mara's breath caught. "Self-activation? Why?" Elias pointed at the sensor display. The ship's shield strength was at 2%. "The system was designed to detect fatal danger," he said. "If the ship reaches near destruction, the weapon goes online automatically." The crew stared in disbelief. Before anyone could speak, the voice of the ship's AI echoed through the bridge speakers. Calm, cold, and emotionless. "Railgun charging. Target lock, hostile vessels." Mara gasped. "It's choosing targets on its own." "The fail-safe protocol," Elias said. "No human needed. It reacts faster than we can." Outside the window, the alien ships moved into formation, ready to fire their final shot. Inside the Solace, deep metal rings rotated into position. Magnetic coils hummed. Energy built quietly, invisibly. Not a single alien sensor picked it up. That was the railgun's greatest advantage. It didn't glow. It didn't heat. It didn't warn. It simply waited. The alien ships fired first. A massive surge of energy blasted toward the Solace, a blinding wave of yellow fire. The crew screamed. Mara instinctively ducked. Celia in the medical bay hugged two children tightly. The entire ship glowed white under the impact. And the shields, those last 2%, shattered instantly. But the energy didn't hit the Solace. A strange pulse rippled outward from the lower deck at the exact same second. The railgun fired. There was no sound. No flash. Just a thin lance of invisible force ripping through space. And then, boom. One alien ship exploded instantly, torn apart like paper. Another broke into two pieces, both halves burning. The third tried to turn away, but a second silent shot punched through its hull, cutting it clean in half. 3 shots. 3 kills. All in less than a heartbeat. The bridge went silent. Mara stared wide-eyed. "Captain, what was that?" Elias answered softly. "That was the reason this ship was feared by our own commanders." He looked at the destruction outside. "And now, the galaxy will fear it too." The explosions faded slowly, leaving behind glowing clouds of metal dust drifting across space. Where 3 powerful alien warships once stood, now there was only silence. Inside HMS Solace, no one moved. No one spoke. Everyone simply stared at the screen, shocked by what they had just seen. The ship that was supposed to save lives had destroyed a fleet in less than a second. Lieutenant Mara was the first to break the silence. "Captain, that railgun. That was not defense. That was annihilation." Elias did not answer. He stood still, hands behind his back, eyes fixed on the fading debris. His quiet voice carried a strange mix of pain and certainty. It did what it was designed to do. Mara stepped closer. Designed to obliterate ships? In one shot. Elias nodded. To end battles before they begin. A weapon so fast, so quiet, that the enemy never even knows it is coming. The crew exchanged uneasy looks. One of the officers whispered, "Sir, this is a medical ship. The galaxy trusts us. If they find out." Elias raised a hand. "I know." Down in the medical bay, chaos had turned into confusion. Celia Torres checked on the patients as the ship slowly stabilized. The children cried, not understanding what happened. The injured soldiers looked around with fear in their eyes. A nurse approached her. "Doctor, is it over?" Celia took a slow breath. "For now." Another tremor passed through the hull, but this time it wasn't an attack. It was the railgun cooling down, metal plates shifting back into place. A patient, an elderly man with bandages around his head, spoke weakly. "I felt something below us, like a heart beating." Celia forced a smile. "Just the engines." But she knew it wasn't the engines. Deep inside her chest, a heavy fear formed. What else is hidden on this ship? What else has the crew not been told? She looked toward the ceiling. Whatever weapon they had used, it had saved thousands of lives. But at what cost? On the bridge, the ship's AI spoke again. Threat level reduced. Railgun cooling cycle initiated. Mara shook her head. The aliens must have sent a distress signal. Their government will know what happened. Elias looked grim. They will want revenge. And they'll want answers, Mara added. They'll ask why a medical ship carries such a weapon. The captain finally turned to face his officers. Prepare a long-range message to Earth Command. They need to know everything. The communications officer hesitated. "Sir, The council banned weapons on medical vessels. If they learn we have one. Elias nodded. Yes. It will cause trouble. Mara whispered, trouble? Sir, this could start a war. Elias looked at the wreckage outside. The war already started when they attacked us. In the engineering section, the team gathered near the sealed lower deck. The door was covered in frost, and the metal around it hummed with leftover electromagnetic energy. A young engineer named Rafi placed his hand on the door, only to pull it back quickly. It's cold. Freezing. A senior engineer frowned. The railgun absorbs heat when it fires. That's what makes it undetectable. Rafi stared at him. You knew about it? The man shook his head. Only rumors. I never believed them. The door lock clicked loudly. Then another. Then a third. Slowly the armored bulkhead began to open. The engineer stepped back, afraid. Inside was darkness. Deep, silent, mechanical darkness. Massive coils lined the walls. Long magnetic rails ran across the floor and ceiling. The entire chamber looked like the throat of a giant metal beast. Rafi whispered, This was under us the entire time? No one answered. Back on the bridge, sensors began to beep. Mara checked the display. Her face turned pale. Captain, we've got incoming signals. Aliens? Elias asked sharply. No. Multiple factions. Civilian channels. Emergency channels. Military channels. They're all talking about us. Elias closed his eyes. The news was spreading faster than they could react. Put one on audio, he said. A robotic voice filled the speakers. Unidentified human vessel, this is the Galactic Regional Network. Reports confirm destruction of 3 Kelran warships by a supposed medical craft. Repeat, a medical craft. Another transmission came through immediately. All fleets are advised. Humans may possess hidden weapons capabilities that violate galactic law. Another. Civilian worlds are demanding answers from the Human Federation. Another. Fear level rising across neutral systems. Human technology suspected to be far more advanced than declared. The crew listened in horror as dozens of voices filled the comms. Fear, confusion, anger, panic. Mara whispered, They're scared of us. Elias answered softly. They should be. Outside the ship, the battlefield was quiet. But the political storm was growing. The galaxy had seen something they were never meant to see. A human medical ship. With a weapon so deadly that even war fleets could not detect it. And that truth was spreading like wildfire. Mara turned to the captain. What now? Elias took a long breath. Now, he said, we prepare for the consequences. He looked at the sealed deck below them, the resting place of the awakened railgun, and hoped the galaxy understands why we had to do this. But deep inside he already knew the truth. They wouldn't understand. They would fear them. And fear always leads to something worse. The galaxy did not stay silent for long. Within minutes, thousands of communication channels lit up. Civilian networks, military networks, government commands, even pirate relays. Everyone was talking about the same thing. A human medical ship destroyed 3 warships in under a second. HMS Solace had become the center of the galaxy's fear. On the bridge, Lieutenant Mara watched the message feed scroll faster than she could read. Captain, these signals are coming from every direction. 10 systems. 20. Now more. Elias looked tired, older than he had only an hour ago. Prioritize official government channels. The communications officer nodded and filtered the signals. 3 major messages remained. One from the Kelran Dominion, whose ships were destroyed. One from the Galactic Council, the highest government body. And one urgent and sharp from Earth Command. Mara felt her stomach twist. This is going to be bad. The first message came through, the Kelran Dominion. A tall, insect-like alien with sharp angles and glowing blue eyes appeared on screen. His mandibles clicked angrily. Human vessel HMS Solace. You have violated galactic law. You have murdered Kelran warriors with a hidden superweapon. You will surrender immediately or face destruction. Elias pressed his lips into a thin line. We were attacked first. We defended ourselves. The Kelran leader snarled. We scanned your vessel. It showed no weapons. That means you used deception, forbidden in warfare. We demand the railgun be turned over to us. Mara stepped forward. Over our dead bodies. The alien leaned closer to the camera. Easily arranged. The signal cut. The crew exchanged uneasy glances. Mara whispered, They're furious. Elias nodded. And they're not the only ones. The Galactic Council message opened next. A calm but cold voice filled the bridge. Human Federation. You stand accused of violating medical neutrality treaties. A weapon of this scale on a protected vessel is a serious offense. You are ordered to bring HMS Solace to Council Station for investigation. Mara clenched her fists. Investigation? They want to lock us up. Elias shook his head. Worse. They want to study the railgun. The crew felt a chill. The Galactic Council was not known for kindness. They wanted order, control. And humanity had just proven it possessed something uncontrollable. Finally, the message from Earth Command arrived. Elias stiffened. This was his home. His people. The symbol of the Human Federation appeared, a silver circle with 3 blue stars. The face of Admiral Rourke appeared, a hardened woman with steel-gray hair and sharp eyes. She did not look angry. She looked scared. Captain Elias. We received the reports. Is the weapon active? Elias nodded. It activated automatically during the attack, Admiral. Rourke rubbed her forehead. This is going to shake the galaxy. Many species already fear our rapid progress. Now they will think we hit a superweapon on a medical ship. Mara stepped forward. Admiral, what are our orders? Rourke hesitated, then spoke with a heavy voice. Protect your passengers. Protect the ship. Do not let anyone board HMS Solace. Elias nodded. Understood. Rourke's tone sharpened. Captain, the Council wants you to surrender. If you do, they will take the railgun, and humanity will lose its only real deterrent. Mara's heart raced. So, we don't surrender? Rourke leaned closer. Not under any circumstance. The message cut. Silence fell across the bridge. Meanwhile, across the galaxy, fear spread like a storm. On a peaceful farming planet, civilians gathered around screens. A young alien farmer shook his head. A medical ship? With a weapon like that? Humans are dangerous. His wife whispered, dangerous, or just prepared? In a mining colony, workers argued loudly. They destroyed a war fleet. It was self-defense. No hospital ship should have a cannon. No one should attack a hospital ship in the first place. Even neutral traders whispered nervously in their ships. Humans lied for years. They're hiding technology. What else do they have? What else have they not shown us? Fear grew. Suspicion grew. And in politics, fear was poison. Back on HMS Solace, the crew felt the pressure of the galaxy closing in on them. Mara turned to the captain. So, Commander, everyone thinks we're monsters? Elias didn't answer at first. He walked slowly to the main window and looked at the ruins of the alien ships floating like cold gray dust. Then he spoke. Fear is powerful, Lieutenant. It can start wars. It can destroy peace. Mara swallowed. Do you think they'll attack us again? Elias took a deep breath. I think every faction in this part of space now wants to know how we did this. He looked back at her. And they will do anything to get that railgun. Suddenly, an alarm beeped. The sensor officer jolted upright. Captain. Multiple signatures entering the system. Elias snapped. How many? The officer stared at the screen in disbelief. 30 ships. Different species. Different factions. All heading toward us. Mara's face turned pale. They're not coming to talk. Elias nodded grimly. No. They're coming to surround us. He turned toward the crew. Everyone, battle stations. The medical ship, the ship meant to save lives, prepared for a fight it never wanted. And far away in the dark emptiness of space, dozens of ships approached slowly, like predators circling a wounded animal. The galaxy was reacting. And it was reacting with fear. The star system around HMS Solace slowly filled with ships. Dozens of them. Different shapes. Different colors. Different species. But all with one purpose. Surround the human medical ship that carried a weapon no one understood. Inside the Solace, the crew felt the tension like a heavy weight pressing on their chests. Lieutenant Mara stared at the radar screen. Red dots filled almost every side of the display. Captain, they've formed a full perimeter around us. We're completely boxed in. Elias stepped closer. His jaw tightened. No escape route. No clear path. The navigation officer swallowed hard. We can't even jump to hyperspace. They're blocking the lanes. A cold silence followed. The Solace was trapped. Down in the medical bay, Celia Torres moved from bed to bed, calming frightened civilians. What's happening? A mother asked, holding her crying child. Celia forced a soft smile. Just some ships passing by. But she knew the truth. Every few seconds, the ship shuddered slightly, small stabilizer adjustments as Solace kept shifting positions to avoid drifting into the enemy blockade. A wounded soldier grabbed her arm. "Doc, are we under siege?" She hesitated, then nodded. The soldier cursed. "A hospital ship. And they're surrounding us like criminals." Celia whispered, "Someone needs to remind them we are carrying families, not soldiers." But deep inside, a darker worry grew. What if reminding them didn't matter? Back on the bridge, an incoming hail broke the silence. "Captain, the council is calling," the comms officer said. "Audio and visual." Elias nodded. The screen flickered, showing the face of a stern alien with silver scales and shining white eyes. "A council marshal. Human vessel HMS Solace. You are surrounded. Power down your engines and prepare to be boarded." Mara stepped forward. "This is a medical ship. You have no right." The marshal raised a hand. "You used a forbidden weapon. You destroyed ships without giving warning. You violated peace laws." Mara clenched her fists. "They attacked us first." The marshal's tone stayed icy. "We will determine that once you are in custody. If you fail to comply, we will take action." Elias finally spoke. His voice calm, controlled. "No one is boarding this ship. I will not hand over my crew or my patients." The marshal blinked slowly. "Then your position is hostile." The transmission ended instantly. Mara stared at the captain. "They're treating us like criminals." Elias nodded grimly. "And criminals don't get mercy." The enemy ships began to move. Slowly. Deliberately. Tightening the circle. The sensor alarms beeped. "Captain," the officer shouted. "Multiple ships charging weapons." Mara turned sharply. "Targeting us?" "Yes. Several of them." "Which faction?" Elias asked. "Many. Too many. Looks like a joint strike." Mara froze. "Different species, joining forces? That almost never happened." Elias whispered, "They're united by fear. Fear of us." Suddenly the AI's voice echoed through the bridge. "Railgun charging cycle unavailable. System cooling incomplete." Mara felt panic rising. "Captain, the railgun is offline." "For how long?" Elias demanded. 17 minutes. 17 minutes felt like eternity. The enemy fired. The Solace had nothing. No shields, only 10% had recharged. No weapons except small defensive lasers. No escape routes, hyperspace lanes blocked. Mara turned to the captain. "We can't survive a focused strike." Elias knew. But he couldn't show fear. "Then we don't let them strike." He straightened his uniform and stepped toward the communication console. "Mara, open a channel to all ships." "All of them?" she asked. "Yes. Every single one." She pressed the controls. A soft beep confirmed the broadcast link. Elias took a long, steady breath. Then spoke. "To every ship surrounding us, this is Captain Elias of HMS Solace. We are a medical vessel. We rescued the injured, the sick, and the helpless. We carry civilians, children, and refugees." He paused. "We did not attack first. We defended ourselves when we had no choice." A few murmurs echoed across the bridge as the crew listened. "If you fire on us now, you will not be stopping a weapon. You will be killing hundreds of innocent lives." Mara whispered, "Please let them listen." But deep down she knew fear made people deaf. On a nearby alien cruiser, a commander glared at the screen. Hiding behind civilians. Typical humans. A crew member hesitated. "But sir, what if he speaks the truth?" The commander ignored him. "Charge the main cannon." Back on the Solace, alarms blared loudly. "Captain," the sensor officer shouted. "We have an energy spike. One ship is locking on." Mara's heart raced. "It's happening?" Elias looked at the timer on the wall. 16 minutes until the railgun is ready. 16 minutes too long. He tightened his fists. "Prepare evasive maneuvers." The ship shook as engines strained. But HMS Solace was not a fighter. The approaching shot would hit them. In the medical bay, Celia hugged two children tightly as lights flickered. A loud hum filled the air. Patients cried out in fear. She closed her eyes. "Hold on, please." Then the enemy ship fired. A beam of burning blue energy shot across space. Straight toward the medical ship. The crew braced. Mara gripped the console. Elias whispered, "Not like this." The beam grew closer. 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 And then, another ship blocked the shot. An enormous vessel slid in front of the beam, taking the full impact. Explosion. Shockwave. Debris flew everywhere. The bridge gasped. Mara shouted, Who did that? The comms officer stared at the screen. Captain, it's a human ship. Elias turned slowly. A human warship? The officer shook his head. No, sir. He zoomed in. The symbol on the hull was clear. A medical symbol, just like theirs. Mara's eyes widened. A second human medical ship? Elias whispered. No. He leaned forward as recognition hit him. That's not just any ship. His voice trembled. That is the ship. The one they said was lost. Mara stared. What do you mean? Elias exhaled deeply. That is the HMS Mercy Dawn, missing for 7 years. And she just saved them. The battlefield went silent. The massive ship that had taken the hit drifted slowly between HMS Solace and the enemy line. Its hull glowed with the heat of the blast it had absorbed, but it held strong. Lieutenant Mara stared in disbelief. Captain, it survived that? How? Elias didn't answer at first. His eyes were locked on the ship's markings, old, faded letters painted proudly on the side. Miss Mercy Dawn. Human medical supercarrier. Declared lost, 7 years ago. Everyone knew the story. A ship too old, too slow, ambushed in deep space by pirates. No survivors found. But stories were sometimes wrong. And now the legend was real, and standing between them and death. A transmission blinked on the bridge. Captain, the comms officer whispered, the Mercy Dawn is hailing us. Elias nodded quickly. Put them through. The screen flickered. A woman appeared, weathered, strong, with silver streaks in her hair. Her uniform was torn but proudly worn. This is Captain Lyra Dane of the HMS Mercy Dawn. Her voice was calm and powerful. We heard what happened to you. And we're here to help. Mara blinked. You were alive this whole time? Lyra gave a small smile. We didn't die. We adapted. We rebuilt. And we watched the galaxy change from the shadows. Elias stepped forward. You saved us, Captain. Why come now? Lyra's expression hardened. Because you're not the only vessel with a hidden weapon. The bridge went silent. Mara whispered, You also have one? Lyra nodded. Our railgun was the prototype for yours. Across the battlefield, the surrounding alien ships hesitated. A second medical ship, also armed? Also unscannable? Fear spread through their formation like a cold wind. Some ships pulled back. Others powered down weapons. A few retreated entirely. The idea hit them hard. If one human medical ship could destroy a war fleet, what could two do? Another transmission came through, this one from a council ship. The silver-scaled council marshal appeared again, visibly shaken. Human vessels, explain yourselves. Now. Captain Lyra stepped into view beside Elias. You want an explanation? Here it is. She leaned closer to the camera. When you attacked our medical ships. When you hunted unarmed vessels. When you allowed pirates and warlords to target the helpless. We saw the truth. Elias finished her sentence. No treaty protects the innocent if no one fears breaking it. Mara felt chills down her arms. The marshal looked furious. Medical neutrality is sacred. You violated it. Lyra narrowed her eyes. No. You violated it. You allowed your allies to fire on us. We simply gave them a reason to stop. The marshal stuttered, angry but uncertain. You threaten the balance of the galaxy. Lyra's voice became cold. The galaxy is only balanced while the helpless are safe. And until that day comes, humanity will not travel unarmed. On enemy ships, captains argued. We cannot fight them. They destroyed 3 ships instantly. Retreat before the railguns fire again. Within minutes, half the blockade broke apart and fled. The rest stayed but kept their weapons cold. Fear had changed everything. Back on HMS Solace, Mara exhaled deeply. Captain, we might actually survive this. Elias nodded. Not because of our weapon, he said softly, but because now they know what happens when they attack a ship full of civilians. Mara managed a small smile. And because we weren't alone. Elias looked at the Mercy Dawn floating proudly beside them. No human ship is ever truly alone, he said. A final hail arrived, Earth Command. Admiral Rourke appeared, surprised to see the second ship. Mercy Dawn, impossible. We thought you were gone. Lyra nodded gently. Lost, not gone. Rourke turned serious. Both of your ships must return home. Now. The Council is demanding a meeting with the Federation. Elias asked, will there be consequences? Rourke exhaled slowly. Oh yes, big ones. Her tone softened. But today you saved hundreds of lives. The Federation stands with you. The message ended. As lights dimmed on the bridge, Mara leaned against her console. So, what happens now? Elias gazed at the stars outside. HMS Solace will return home. We will face questions. Investigations. Politics. Mara sighed. And the railgun? Elias looked down at the deck, the forbidden weapon resting silent beneath their feet. It stays hidden, until the day we need it again. He paused. Because no law, no council, no treaty will ever stop us from protecting our own. Mara nodded slowly. That's what makes us human. Outside, HMS Mercy Dawn drifted closer, its lights blinking in a friendly pattern. 2 ships. 2 legends. Side by side. In a galaxy full of danger, fear, and betrayal. Humanity had just sent a message louder than any weapon. You may attack us. You may corner us. You may fear us. But we will never let innocence die. The Solace turned slowly, engines powering up. The Mercy Dawn followed. Together, the 2 medical ships, once victims, now protectors, left the battlefield behind. The galaxy watched them go. Watched and wondered, if these are the weapons humanity hides on hospital ships, what else have they built?